I got such a good one for you today, guys. How to talk to people based on their Mercury sign. How are we doing, everybody? I'm Alyssa Campo, wellness practitioner and astrologer, here to bring you some tips with communication. So we're going to be diving into Mercury, which is the planet of communication, thought, speech, perspective, and outlook. And so just to give you a heads up, my Mercury is in Scorpio, 2 degrees Scorpio, and I have Mercury in the 11th house. So for my communication style, the way that I like to receive information and deliver information is going to be with the undertone of Scorpio. Scorpio ruled by Mars and by Pluto, with this very strong intensity, this very passionate, reliant sense of energy behind it, and really getting to the heart of the matter, leaving no stone unturned, and really kind of getting into this investigative, maybe probing, really wanting to know all aspects of the puzzle. Because my Mercury is in a water sign, I really think that whatever your Mercury is the way that you're going to receive messages and downloads the best. So fixed water, or water in general, for Mercury Scorpio, and that makes sense for me. I definitely receive downloads in the shower, when I'm by a creek or by a body of water, or when there's water involved. So depending on what element your Mercury sign is, you can take that into account of kind of how to get that energy flowing and those messages to come through. So through the signs, Mercury in Aries. Mercury in Aries is going to take a very individual approach to how they get their message across. They may come across as selfish at times because they can be very blunt, very direct and honest, which for some people can be a little bit triggering, but for a lot of people, they really respect that. They really appreciate that. Aries Mercury, they're really going to take the role of the leader. They're going to want to be first to raise their hand, first to share their thoughts. The first, thought or idea that comes to mind is what they're going to want to talk about. So Mercury in Aries definitely has a respect and esteem for very reliant, very bold, very fierce kind of people and kind of communications is where they're going to thrive. If you have Mercury in Taurus, you definitely take things a little bit slower. You're not going to be the first to raise your hand. You're not going to be the first to respond in a text message. You really like to take your time with things. Mercury in Taurus is Venus ruled, so they have a very, very easygoing, comforting energy about them. Mercury in Taurus definitely can be a little bit stubborn in their ideas, so sometimes be flexible with them, allowing them to really give their creative genius and then have some room for some flexibility for, that group dynamic. If you have Mercury in Gemini, there's a high likelihood that you like to bounce your ideas and talk to your siblings quite a bit. Gemini rules duality, one side of the spectrum and the other, and then finding their middle ground, finding their own perspective. So if you have Mercury in Gemini, you definitely like to take in a lot of information, facts. You do a lot of analyzing. Sometimes overthinking can present, so just make sure that you're filtering those thoughts and you're doing something physically to move that energy. When you have Mercury in Gemini, you might find yourself kind of scattered, very multidimensional is a nice way I like to put that scattered energy. But you kind of have this curiosity and this expansive energy to really want to put your knowledge and your ideas to the test and keep going with that, keep growing and learning and knowing. Mercury and Cancer are going to make really, really nice therapy people. I mean, they are so easy to talk to. They have a very nurturing way about things. And they're very protective. You'll see if you have Mercury in Cancer, you can have almost a motherly tone or a very soft and feminine way about how you deliver messages. You're very cautious about the other person's emotions involved. And Mercury in Cancer definitely is a lot very close to their roots and their family. So they're going to take the influence or the judgments of what their family might think a little bit more into play because of that Mercury in Cancer. If you have Mercury in Leo, you're not afraid to say how you feel and tell it what it is. So Mercury in Leo is very bold, very outward, ruled by the sun. So they have such a warm and bubbly energy about them. They really like to be in the performance or in the spotlight, in their exalted form, in their confidence. In the opposite, they might be a little bit shy, but they have a very innocent and playful energy about how they speak, how they communicate, how they deliver messages. Mercury in Virgo. So Mercury naturally rules Virgo along with Gemini. So this placement is an awesome placement to have. Mercury in Virgo, also like I said, Mercury and Gemini, are in its home, in its natural ruler. So naturally, you're going to be the one teaching, sharing, being of service, and really putting your information in a way that's practical and that can help, that can refine, that can make it better. Virgo can be very particular too. So if you have Mercury in Virgo, make sure that you're a little bit gentle on that inner critic when it's necessary. Of course, we all really need that advice and information from a Mercury Virgo sometimes. Mercury in Libra, we're going to have a lot of weighing things out, a lot of this side and that side, what should I do? So with Mercury in Libra, this is a beautiful placement for very inspirational, very artistic eye, for fashion, for art, for beauty, for this sense of harmonious energy that you bring to the table. Mercury in Libra definitely can feel a little bit, finishing each other's sentences or a little bit influenced by the relationship that they're reflecting. So it's always really important for Mercury in Libra to make sure that they know what their own stance is on things, and they're not afraid to communicate that to make the peace. I already talked about Mercury in Scorpio. I have Mercury in Scorpio. And with this placement, I definitely feel it can be really awesome when it comes to getting downloads, when it comes to this empathic nature, empowering nature. But at the same time, with Scorpio, it's about survival and about foundation. So a lot of the times, Mercury in Scorpio can get too ahead of themselves. They can go to assumptions. They can feel, the downside of Scorpio can be like jealousy and obsession. So it can really get too overly active for the mind. So with Mercury in Scorpio, I really think that it's important to develop your own sense of intuition, your psychic abilities, but you really don't use that psychic power to, kind of create situations. You have that power within, so just be careful how you use it. Mercury and Mother Sag, because you guys like to cuss. Mercury in Sagittarius, this is a fun one. Mercury in Sag is so expansive and happy-go-lucky and fun. But when it comes down to those deep, intense manners, they're going to be honest. They're going to be blunt. They're going to tell you jokingly what you need to hear, but with love. So sometimes Sagittarius can be a little I was going to say cynical or a little humorous, but that's just to lighten the mood. They really do care. They really, want to help, but they're funny. So don't take their humor personally. Work it. Mercury in Capricorn. That's going to have a vibe of boss bitch, okay? This is about authority. This is about being an individual that works really hard and has a lot to offer and a lot to give and is not going to give it to just anybody. Capricorn is about authority. It's about understanding to be our own parent, to have that balance of divine feminine and divine masculine so that we're a balanced and whole individual. And they just have a lot on their plate. There's a very spiritual energy to Capricorn, but there's also a very earthly and grounded energy to Capricorn. So Mercury in Capricorn, do not work too much. Don't become a workaholic. Deliver things in a way where you're giving that caring and nurturing energy, and you know your self-worth of how you're sharing that, who you're sharing that with, what you're doing with your business, and really how you conduct yourself. Mercury in Aquarius. So my husband has this placement and my youngest son have this placement. And Mercury in Aquarius is so awesome. It's a very unique one. So Uranus is Aquarius's ruler, and it's all about, we don't know what you're going to do. We don't know what's going to happen. It kind of leaves you on this edge that you want more, but you don't know what it is. And it has this really exciting and hopeful look to the future. Aquarius wants humanity to be better. They want to see the world as a better place and offer their own individual, perspective or services or gifts to the world to really see that dream come true. And last, but of course not least, we have Mercury in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces is such an empathic placement. To have your communication, your thought processes in the final, 12th house of the zodiac, where everything meets in the spiritual realm, everything connects, all the dots are, connected. And Pisces, it's dreamy. It's a little bit hard sometimes to be in the grips of reality because Pisces, Mercury wants to dream. They want to have harmony. They want to, just go with the flow, go with how things naturally come about in natural cycles. So they're very empathic people, very easy to talk to. Mental health can be a hard thing for them because of their empathic nature, because they get overloaded in that therapy kind of role. So Mercury and Pisces, make sure you are journaling, doing those beautiful things for yourself, creating art, poetry, whatever it may be, to be in that tapped in, intuitive space where you have that spiritual power and that spiritual maturity. Let me know what you thought of this series of Mercury through the signs, and let me know what you want next.